Hello and welcome to In Transit. Our guest today is Naval Bajaj, Indo-Canadian businessman and president of the Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce, an important business body that has brought the largest business delegation to date from Canada at this year's Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. Welcome to the show, Mr. Bajaj.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me on this show.
We're happy to have you in the studio. Now, tell me, Navalji, what made you migrate to Canada? I'm assuming that you grew up in India, you studied in India. So what made you migrate to Canada, and when did that happen?
This happened close to 9 years ago. I had done my Master of Engineering in metallurgy and did my MBA and then law. Now, we all the friends, me and a couple of friends had filed for, we wanted to file for Australia when we were doing our masters, but that time the point system from Australia came out, and when we were in Delhi we came to know there is a point system in Canada also going on. So all of our friends decided that let's just file up the form for Canada. And I was the last one. I said, I'm not much interested. I come from a business family. My father is in textiles and my brother in construction, so our entire family is into textiles and construction. So there was no plans to migrate to Canada. The plan was to start a industry of mine own in something related to metal. But we filed for, all the friends decided let's file. So I said, okay, let's file.
That was just a casual reason? Or
A casual reason. There was no.
In Canada
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. There was. I can speak particularly about me that I was.
It was just a fashion those days.
It was just
to try and work
all the
abroad
friends
or study
and
abroad. Yes.
As I'd done my Master of Engineering, MBA and law. Without any interview, my interviews were waived off, and with no time, I think within few months, I got my permanent residency for Canada, and I was not ready for it, so I had to get it extended. And then finally, a time came when I got from the Canadian consulate that I have to go or I have to put a new file, and was just a couple of days left in my my visa. So I just went there for 24 hours. So the flight which I landed in Canada, the same flight I took it back and came. So I just landed in Canada, filed up my papers. So there is you have to file for a social insurance number and the health card. And the same flight I boarded back and came. And then I went after 6 months back to Canada.
Right. So what were the challenges that you faced during your integration into Canadian society?
To be honest, I think with the grace of God and I was lucky, I didn't face any challenges when I migrated to Canada. I migrated to Canada the day I went after 6 months, when I say not the time, first time I landed, because I landed the second time, which was after 6 months. I landed at 6 o'clock in the evening out there, and I stayed with just like a paying guest at somebody's place. And there was a friend I met who was with me in university, and he said, what are your plans? I said, I'm here just for a few days and I have to go back because I had to come back. That's a 6 months procedure. So he said, if you're planning to stay for a month or so and to move around, why don't you start a job here, because you have now a social insurance number. I said, I can do that. He said, there's an open house tomorrow morning at a company known as 7-Eleven. And he asked me, do you know the company? I said, I don't know about it. He said, so in the morning you can come to that open house and we can try. So next day I went for an open house, and there when I started speaking to a couple of people and I said, looking for a management job, there was a guy who just made a joke of me and said, you landed yesterday and you were looking for a management job. I said, I done my Master of Engineering and MBA and law, so I'm looking for that. He said, it's not possible you get a management job on the day one, mostly when you land. I said, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not interested. And there was an HR person in the same vicinity in the area, and she approached me and said, okay, give me your resume and I will get back to you. Before I reached back, I already had a call from them that can you come for an interview tomorrow morning? And I said, okay. And she gave me address. I just agreed on it. When I asked the paying guest where I was staying with, that how far is that, the guy said, it's just a couple of hours. And I said, how do I get there? He said, either I can drop you, I will charge you $500. I said, I'm not paying $500. You know our Indian mentality. I said, that's too much money. I'm not going to pay for that. So he said, okay, then you can take a train and go in there. I reached there 7 o'clock in the morning. The lady, my HR lady, asked me, where did you park my car? I said, I landed day for yesterday. How do you expect me driving? Anyhow, as I mentioned, I got a job right away on the management job. So, and from there the career started.
What kind of a company is
that is
7-Eleven?
7-Eleven is the world's largest retail chain with more than 40,000 stores in the world.
Is it larger than Walmart?
It's larger than Walmart. This is the world's largest retail chain. So number of stores, more than 40. We open one store every 4 hours. So open 6 stores in a day as of today also. So like 4,000, more than 4,000 stores open in a year.
Well, considering India's sort of
I know
open
that
up FDI, do you think 7-Eleven will come into India? Any plans?
I think 7-Eleven sooner or later will come. At present, the growth market is focused more on the North America and China.
I see.
I'm sure it's surely going to come in the near future.
Right. Now, you're president of a very prestigious Indo-Canadian organization, the Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce. What is the goal of this organization and how deep is its reach in Canada?
See, Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce is a 35-year-old Indo-Canadian organization. It's a business organization with the widest reach to the diaspora, to the Indian diaspora in Canada. Indian diaspora in Canada is more than 1 million. Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce is a national body, so it has a coast-to-coast presence. It's a 6 councils throughout Canada in all the major cities. From last 35 years, the chamber is focusing on a twin mandate. The first one is to foster the bilateral trade relations between Canada and India, and second is to provide a networking platform and to help the members to grow their business, on India, Canada as well as globally also. And the chamber has done, I think, a great job in the last 35 years in delivering this twin mandate. And when it comes to the last few years, last 5-6 years, the India-Canada file has moved on an upward trajectory. Canada has opened its door. Canada's most of the business is with today also with US. When I say with US, it's so high, it's close to $1.8 billion every day. But Canada has opened itself now globally. And when opening itself globally, one of the key country which Canada is focused is to grow the bilateral trade between India and Canada. Today the trade between Canada and India is close to $5 billion. The Canadian Prime Minister during the last visit, which was in November last year, where I also was a part of his delegation, his trade mission when we came to India, and he had I think again repeatedly mentioned clearly that we want to increase this bilateral trade from $5 billion to $15 billion in the next 2 years. So looking at close to 300% increase in 2 years. And chamber is working on this from last 35 years. So now the chamber's efforts are now coming into what the efforts what we were doing, we can see the results coming now. The chamber is focusing, working with both the governments to advise both the governments when it comes to the decision making, to the policies, both the Canadian government as the Indian government. I'm the part of the advisory for the comprehensive agreement partnership agreement committee also, which is working of the chief negotiator Mr. Don Stephenson from Canada side. So advise him on and whenever needed or before at least the round discussions happens about the free trade agreement which is going on between India and Canada. Part of have been invited in the past also of the Canada's Prime Minister's Advisory Business Committee meetings, also part of the invited also in the parliamentary standing committee meetings, where most of the discussions are between the Canada and India, how we can help there. So now this, going back on the point that last 35 years you were focusing on growing, and this file is now coming into more existence or upward trajectory. So as the growth when we are looking at from 5 billion to 15 billion, I think what based on us, who can be the better person to do the business with India than the Indo-Canadians.
Right.
No doubt the Canadians also, but the Indo-Canadians. As knowing the culture of the business out, how the business can be done in India. So I think the chamber is focused on growing this trade relations, and as a part of growing this trade relations, the chamber this year led a trade mission to a 7-city trade mission, a multi-city trade mission which goes all the way from north to the west to the south. The trade mission had more than 130 delegates in our trade mission, the largest trade mission ever, I think, came from Canada to India.
But I'd be very interested in knowing that you started in the ICCC as a director.
Yes.
And now you're the president. So can you describe that process of growth, your growth within the organization?
See, that's where I think when you are focused and you want to achieve something, you want to do something, I think you are able to get it. I started as a director and then moved to the vice president, finance and administration, and now the president. I'm the 25th president of the chamber. As I already mentioned, that the twin mandates of the chamber is on the to increase the trade between India and Canada, and I think I'm carrying the same mandate. But at the same time, one of the key focus what we added is how can we focus on the 3-tier government. There is a national government, there is a provincial, a state government, and there is a cities. So one thing which as a president I believe is that if a city will develop, a country will develop. Because if you see in the business or in any of the cultures nowadays, the paradigm has been reversed. Before, the paradigm used to be moving from top to the bottom. Now is from bottom to the top.
Right. That
if we build our grassroots, or I think if we go to our ancient history, this is always we used to say that our foundation should be strong. Our knees should be strong. So I think we are working on making the foundation strong. So we are focusing on cities to develop, the small and medium enterprises, businesses at the city level to grow. So as a part of that, we are we brought couple of city with us. When I say couple of city, we had a couple of cities mayor with us. We had a mayor of Brampton and mayor of city of Markham.
Along with their, this time.
Along with their economic development department board, their economic development commissioners with them, and the small and medium enterprises businesses with them.
Right, we'll talk more about this effort after this very short break.
Okay, thank you.
Don't go away, we'll be back in a few moments.